What's going on, guys? It's Nick here, back on the fantasy football video. Today, top 5 bold predictions for the 2017 fantasy football season. Football's finally back. We had our first real set of games. We've already had the Hall of Fame game, and then one game, I believe, on Wednesday. But Thursday, last night, finally had some football back. Watched the whole Patriots game. Obviously, they lost, but no big deal there. It's just the preseason. And of course, DraftKings is back, so you know we played a little money. You know we almost doubled, a little bit over doubled, a little bit under doubled, sorry. But if you want to make some money this season, check out DraftKings. Check out our private chat. Become a premium member of the website. I will be giving you lineups that I'm using. Not as much in tournament. I'll give you like 75% of tournament lineups because that does you no good to play the same tournament lineup as 200 other people. But get yourself a premium membership to the website. I'll give you my cash game lineup, giving you some tournament lineups, and let's win some money. So, without further ado, let's hop into this video. Number 1. Well, these are in no particular order, but the first one we're talking about, Rex Burkhead. Rex Burkhead will score more PPR points than Mike Gillislee. Now, that might be a shock to some of you. I am a Patriots fan, and I do love Gillislee. But the best player always wins the competition for the Patriots. Like some teams, they just play the guys they drafted high or they paid a lot of money to. The best player wins in New England. And I'm not saying Burkhead is like clearly the best player. I'm saying his skill set is more well-rounded. And I think that is going to play to Bill Belichick. He's better at pass catching, but he can also do goal line. He can also be a first and second down guy. So what you also add to that, he's a double handcuff. You know, if James White goes down, you heard me talk about this in the Thursday video. James White goes down, in steps Burkhead. Gillislee goes down, in steps Burkhead for a huge role. But I really believe that it's possible. I mean, where have we heard that Belichick is starting Gillislee? I mean, Gillislee's going in like the 4th round right now. Even in PPR, he's going in like the 5th. Where have we heard definitively that Gillislee is the number 1, getting all the goal line looks? Like, we're assuming that he fills the Blunt role exactly like Blunt did. But Blunt had no one else behind him besides Lewis and White and Bolden. But Bolden was always just a special teams guy. It was just Lewis and White, and they were more third down backs. So we didn't really have anyone that was pushing him. Well, Gillislee has Rex Burkhead. So if Gillislee fumbles a few times, if Gillislee is just as effective as Burkhead in the red zone in camp, and they realize that no one's respecting the passing game when Gillislee's on the field, but they do have to with Burkhead on the field, I just think it's something to consider. That Burkhead is going in what, like the 12th round, and Gillislee's going in like the 4th or 5th round, and yet I'm saying there's a chance that Burkhead outscores Gillislee. I don't know. I think we need to temper expectations just a little bit with Gillislee, and we need to realize the value that we have right now in Burkhead. So that's number 1. Burkhead will score more PPR points than Gillislee. Let's move on to number 2, and that is that Tyrod Taylor and Dak Prescott will both finish inside of the top 10 this season. Now, that doesn't sound super bold, and it really shouldn't be, but they're being drafted. Dak Prescott is going 14th, and Tyrod's going 17th. So I'm going to say both guys who are being taken well outside the top 10 will finish inside of the top 10. Now, both of them have rushing security. They're both going to be probably, I would say Dak around 300 yards. You can't really predict touchdowns, but 300 yards and like 3 to 5 touchdowns, somewhere in that range on the ground. And then Tyrod's probably going to be the league leader in rushing, probably around 5 to 600 with like 5 or 6 touchdowns. When you also look at it, people are off of Dak, at least recently, he's been slipping, because they look at the schedule. They say, oh, well, they went from the number 1 easiest schedule in the league to the number 1 hardest. That's not as bad as you think for Dak. Now, Dez has some really tough matchups with number 1 corners, but he's got some other weapons around him, and he's got the running game. And I think he's a decent quarterback. I mean, I'm not going to call him elite yet in his point in his career, but he's a good quarterback. So you give him games that he's not going to be up by 2-3 scores late and just handing the ball off to Zeke every play. And I think Zeke comes a little bit more involved in the passing game. I think that Cole Beasley's role as a slot receiver is going to improve. I think they're going to use him a little bit more. So if they're actually down late in games now, the game script is going to switch from run heavy to maybe some pass heavy. So I think Dak can absolutely be top 10. And Tyrod, I think, is a great quarterback who finished top 10 last season. He finished 8th. And now you bring back Sammy Watkins, and I'll get to him later in this episode. I just think that both of them have a very good chance of finishing at ones, and they're both being taken in like the 12th to, I guess, 11th to 13th rounds. So these guys are perfect options if you're planning on potentially streaming. You know, you think, I don't want to take someone early, I want to take someone late. If they flame out, I'll just stream. These guys are perfect options because they could finish very well and you won't even have to stream. But they're going so late that even if they stink, it doesn't cost you much because they're going so late. So I think both of them will finish inside of the top 10 this season. That is prediction number 2. On to number 3. My boys, Willie Snead, Jamison Crowder, and Stephon Diggs will all be inside the top 20 in PPR scoring this coming season. If you've been following this channel for any sort of time, you knew these guys were going to make the list. And I really think that this is a risky one, obviously, because if any of them misses more than 2 games, the whole entire thing goes away. But this is more to show you guys, I truly believe that these are the best mid-round picks. Now, right now, Jamison Crowder is dealing with some sort of leg injury. I think it was like a hamstring pull. I'm not concerned as long as it doesn't last long. And as long as they all start the season healthy, I'm very confident in all of them. Willie Snead is now the number 2 on a very high-scoring offense. Don't give me that Ginn is the number 2. He's not the number 2. It's going to be Willie Snead. And listen, Michael Thomas is great, so you can honestly draft both of them. But Willie Snead is going to get plenty of targets and a prolific offense. He's a very, very safe option with some upside. Stephon Diggs coming into his 3rd season now. He was a little bit injury-prone last season, or a little bit injured last season. He kind of hinted that it was a little bit due to his conditioning. You know, maybe he's taking for granted the NFL after his 1st season went well. But he said that he's fully locked and loaded this season. So if he can stay healthy as the clear-cut, yes, clear-cut number 1 option in that offense, that short passing game really helps him out. I mean, he's going to get a ton of receptions. All the guys in this list, I think, are going to get a ton of receptions. But I think that you can project Diggs to have the most if he can stay healthy. So if with an improved run game, I really think they can score more points this year. The offensive line died last season. I think if the offensive line stay healthy, if Cook, who looked good in the first preseason game, if Cook can make defenses honest in the ground game, I think Diggs is going to be a steal. And Jamison Crowder is starting to not be a steal. People are starting to catch on to how good he is. But he's a fantastic slot receiver. And on an offense where they're kind of turning into, I'm not going to say they're as good as the Patriots, but in that role where you say, okay, we can't just like lock down Jamison Crowder because we have to worry about other guys. You know, if Terrell Pryor starts going off, if Doxson can finally put together a healthy season, if the run game can get going, if Reed can stay healthy, they're not going to be able to just stop Jamison Crowder, who's becoming Kirk Cousins' favorite option in the passing game. I mean, you listen to reports from camp, and it's Reed and it's Crowder, who he's looking to with his first read. So I love all of these guys. I think all of them can finish inside of the top 20. So that is the 3rd bold prediction. Let's move on to the 4th bold prediction. Sammy Watkins in standard scoring, because remember, I've always said Sammy Watkins is a better play in standard, will finish a top 3 wide receiver. I truly believe that even if he misses a game, misses 2 games, he can make this. Now, obviously, it would be preferable to hit top 3 as a wide receiver for you to play every game. But that seems a little bit far-fetched given his history. But if he does, if Sammy Watkins plays all 16 games, he will likely finish top 5, potentially 1. But I'm going to say he's going to finish in standard scoring top 3. Even looking at just this preseason game, I know it's a super small sample. He was targeted on the first 4 plays actually, but the first 3 plays, all receptions. It was 30 or 33 yards. I can't remember what it was, creating a ton of separation. He's a monster. The only issue, the only one, is injuries. Who else can we say that about? Le'Veon Bell, and he's going 2nd overall. You can get Sammy Watkins in like the 3rd or 4th round. So I think that his draft position completely makes up for the injury risk. Because if he doesn't get hurt, he's going to be an absolute monster. Who else are they throwing to? I know they brought in Anquan Bolden, who could take away some touchdowns. But Sammy Watkins is going to get his touchdowns. He's going to get his yards. He's going to be heavily targeted. He's a monster. The only thing you have to worry about is injuries. And if you can get him in the 4th round of a standard league, you need to take that every time. Even in the mid to late 3rd round, I think in a standard scoring league, you have to take that. In PPR, I only bump him back a little bit. I'd say 4th round. Anywhere in the 4th round in a PPR league, go for it. And I'm assuming 12-team league. So I guess in 10-team, maybe bump that back like half a round each. But he is an absolute monster. So draft him. I would suggest not drafting like Le'Veon Bell, Dez Bryant, Sammy Watkins, Keenan Allen. Like, I wouldn't do that, obviously. Download our premium rankings and you'll see the injury risk. Don't draft a bunch of people who are in the red tier. Mix them in with some guys in the green tier, some guys that really have no risk. But if you're shooting for upside, which you should be in fantasy, I mean, you shouldn't be taking an entire team of low floor players. You should be mixing in some guys who have risk. And I think if you're taking low floor players and then you get to this point in the draft and you see Sammy, take him. Because I think bold prediction number 4, Sammy Watkins finishes as a top 3 wide receiver in standard scoring. Last, 5th bold prediction, there will be exactly 0 Seahawks running backs to finish inside of the top 20 PPR scoring. Eddie Lacy, Thomas Rawls, CJ Procise, the only real candidates you have to finish inside the top 20. None of them will. Lacy, I guess, has the best chance. Right now, I'm considering him the starter because I don't think Thomas Rawls is any good. But even if we thought, oh, Lacy's making weight, Lacy looks good, they are still running behind the 32nd ranked offensive line. He's not going to be involved in the passing game, but Procise isn't going to be very involved in the rushing game. And Rawls is going to take some carries away from Lacy. So it's like they're all going to vulture each other. Maybe Lacy goes out for a few games and Rawls steps in. Maybe it's vice versa if Rawls starts. And I mean, Rawls, go to his playerprofiler.com page. I mean, he's under the 50th percentile in like everything. So I don't think Rawls is any good. So if Rawls gets the job, I don't think he finishes top 20. But even if he doesn't, if Lacy gets the job, he's got the best chance of finishing top 20. He's getting the goal line work. He's getting 1st and 2nd down. But in PPR, he's not going to catch any balls. And I do think they're going to use Rawls in some capacity. I mean, I have heard reports that Rawls is the guy. The next day, it's Lacy's the guy. So I have no idea, really, who's going to be the starter here. I'm just predicting it's Lacy, but I think he's being taken too high. And for the people who think Procise, like, yes, Procise is a great, RB0 candidate, a scat back late that's just going to get you some points. He's got upside if one of them gets hurt. But even if, like, Rawls goes down, Lacy's still there. So I don't think Procise is ever going to be, like, a prolific runner. It's all going to be receptions out of the backfield. And I don't think that you can break the top 20 if you don't have a large role in the rushing game. Especially since he's probably not going to get many rushing touchdowns, so he has to rely on only the receiving touchdowns in the red zone, and that just seems like a stretch to finish top 20. So I don't think any of them are going to finish inside of the top 20 this season. That is the 5th and final bold prediction 2017 fantasy football season. And remember, if you have not done so already, head on over to the website, thefantasyfootballadvice.com. You can download our free rankings. Just go to the download rankings tab. You can view them on the website or download them to your computer. Completely up to you which one you do. But if you want help during the season, if you want help both in season long and in daily fantasy, become a premium member of the website. It's $20 right now because that includes the premium rankings. But if you want to wait until the season starts, it's only going to be $5. You guys can sign up to get all 3 of our articles each week, plus access to our both private chats, the DFS one and the season-long one. I'm making the DFS one today after this video gets uploaded. Everyone that's in the season-long is going to get an invite. I think that's how it works. I think I can invite all of you. If not, I'll just pin a post to the top and have you guys just send a request and I'll accept you. But if you want access to both of those, become a premium member of the website. I promise you, we've been having great discussions, a ton of feedback. You don't just want my feedback. You want feedback from a larger portion of people. So, that is the end of this video. Hope you did enjoy. If you did, how about we hit that like button, subscribe if you are new, and thanks for watching.